Hello and welcome to News on NTA International. I'm Nancy Godi Angonihu. First, the headlines. Nigerian Army promises support for democratic culture. 14 more power projects to be executed in 2021 fiscal year. National Broadcasting Commission sanctions airing media houses. Now details of the news. Following the recent hijack and fallout of NSAS protests, the Nigerian Army says it will not allow any force in or outside the country to destabilize the nation's democratic system that enhances socio-economic development. This was the highlight of a crucial meeting of the Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, Principal Staff Officers, General Officers Commanding and the Field Commanders held in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the acting director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sagir Musa, conveyed the Army chief's message to journalists.
Directed that they, PSOs, GOCs, and field commanders must reiterate to all their subordinates that the Nigerian Army is determined to ensure democratic stability in Nigeria as the only panacea for development and progress. That there will be.
The Nigerian Army explains that it acted professionally since the commencement of the protest to avoid a grand plan by detractors to tarnish the image of the military.
He charged them to show the detractors and other elements of destabilization that they are neither a part of them nor in any way supportive of their activities at all times. He directed that any act of arson or attempt to kill or maim any military or security personnel and other law-abiding civilians must be responded to quickly and decisively.
The Army stressed its loyalty to the civil authority and charged principal officers to cooperate with the police and other security agencies to secure the nation. Now, hoodlums on Monday morning vandalized and looted items stored at a warehouse in Gwagwalada Area Council of the FCT. Hawa Gimba has a situation report on the chaotic atmosphere.
Barely less than 24 hours of hoodlums vandalizing Nema warehouse in Jabida Kibiu, another group of hoodlums in Gwagwalada Area Council raided the warehouse in the area.
The classes have taken the laws into their hands, breaking into the palliative center, destroying everything. We have a couple of casualties.
This rowdy rush right from the main entrance into Gwagwalada is not caused by a crisis but the lawlessness of the people. It is a free-for-all situation as residents of Gwagwalada in their numbers trooped into the warehouse amidst security presence and made away with as much items as they could, while others saw it as a business opportunity to make quick money by selling some of the items by the roadside. Hawagimba, NTA News.
And in his reaction, Minister of Federal Capital Territory Mohammed Musa Bello has ordered the arrest and prosecution of those who broke into the FCT warehouse in Gwagwalada Area Council and carted away food items. The minister gave the order during an emergency security meeting on the ugly development in the territory. Shuaibu Onoze Yakubu tells us more.
FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello, while advising looters to return the food items carted away, disclosed that there will be massive deployment of security agencies to safeguard factories and warehouses at Idu Industrial Area. He said the ugly development is not in any way connected to the NSAS protest, but a broad-day stealing by hoodlums, which must be condemned in strong terms.
As you know, a number of government warehouses have been vandalized, and it has now escalated to private warehouses. As a matter of fact, hoodlums and thieves have entered many factories in our Edu industrial area, where they are just vandalizing finished goods, as well as fixtures and physical items within the factories. This is totally sad and unacceptable, and that is why we held this meeting and we reviewed some of this situation. We have called upon all the security agencies within the membership of the FCT Security Committee to deploy massively in the industrial area, so that properties and factories will be protected. Particularly, we have also seen that there is this desire by some to escalate this into tribal, ethnic, and even religious confrontation, which I think is going to be wrong, because this is totally against what the FCT stands for.
Area council chairmen and other community leaders are advised to reach out to the people with the aim of pleading with them against looting government food reserves in the territory. Shaibu Onozeyaku, NTA News.
And joining us via Zoom from Kaduna is our legal practitioner, Yunus Ustaz Usman, SAN, to talk on the NSTARS protest and the loot. Hello, sir. The SAN.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're welcome to NTA International News.
Thank you.
Now, as a statesman, how would you describe the NSTARS, the events in the last few days?
It is most unfortunate and unpatriotic. You see, when these people said, when they made a 5-point demand, the federal government immediately said, yes, we agree with you, and started implementation. What is the need for the continuous protest again? There was no need. And then these boys allowed hoodlums to start looting property, even killing people and the rest of them. This has earned them a bad name. It is not good. My advice to them is that they should please give peace a chance. I'm telling them this. We say that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. If the same youth should start looting, start maiming other people.
Okay, you have established the fact that they actually did not heed the president's advice to actually wait until action is taken, because the government already started taking action and made a promise to them that they would have everything that they needed. You're not happy about that. President Buhari, as the Nigerian leader, is appealing to Nigerians to give peace a chance, promising that justice will be served with the establishment of panels of inquiry in states over the alleged police brutality. What is your take on this?
Yes, I think we have to praise the president for his prompt intervention. Immediately, the president said, I agree with you. These things are going to be addressed immediately. And they started addressing them. I see no basis for the continuous vandalization and protest again. At least give the government a chance to carry out these things. I'm not happy with what is happening at all. Particularly this killing and maiming of people. And looting. Looting is not part of the protest.
Yes, looting. Looting is actually not part of the protest. Now, your advice, sir, can I get your advice to the people on the looting spree of government and public concerns? What will the effect will have?
The youth should get off the streets, allow the government to address their grievances, which they have started doing. Then, at the same time, I'm appealing to the governors. Why did they not distribute these palliatives since? Why did they allow them up till now? You see, and this thing has vindicated Buhari. Buhari gave out these things since. Even Al-Agia Aisha, the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, this has vindicated her too. They gave out these things. What are you keeping them for? Are you keeping them for the people until the people die? But people people did not know this before, were blaming the federal government. This has shown that the federal government did it ought to do. if you have anybody to blame, it is the state governors concerned that will have to be blamed. We have to praise Buhari. Buhari gave out these palliatives immediately. But I'm begging the governors. I'm begging the governors.
For your advice to the Nigerian people.
My advice is that we don't have another country other than this, other than Nigeria. Please give peace a chance. Some of us who were alive during the civil war, were close to the Igbos, know what war is. War is not anybody can ever dream of, except somebody who has not tasted war. And I'm advising Kanu in London, please let him leave Nigeria alone. He doesn't know what war is, so he should not bring war into this country. And I'm telling you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ustaz, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for your advice. You're preaching peace. This is a time for peace. More than ever before, Nigeria needs peace. And you don't want war to break out. Thank you very much. I've been speaking with Yunus Ustaz Usman, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN. The Emir of Zauzau, Alhaji Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, has asked youths in the country to always find lawful channels of ventilating their grievances for harmonious and peaceful coexistence in the country. The Emir stated this while reacting to the looting and vandalism of public and private warehouses in Kaduna. Sagir Mohammed Awal reports.
Like in many other states, public and private warehouses were broken into by mobs cutting away different ways. This, the Emir of Zazzau, Alhaji Ahmad Nubamali, says it is not proper and appeal to the people of the state to always be law-abiding. He charged parents to be vigilant on their words and always counsel them to be good citizens.
I've spoken to district heads, ward heads and village heads to be very vigilant, and then immediately report suspected, people who are in the neighborhood, trying to incite others, to violence.
Alhaji Nubamali sue for peace and tranquility for socio-economic development of the country. In Zaria, I'm Sagir Muhammad Awal, NTA News.
The Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, has advised Nigerians to disregard allegations from some quarters accusing it of hoarding COVID-19 palliatives aimed at assuaging plights of the vulnerable. The forum says the palliatives, which were parts of the goodwill of Nigeria business community through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, had up to 10 states to cover as at mid-October 2020. The forum regretted the tragic looting at the strategic warehouse in Lagos, as well as other parts of the country where consignments were stored ahead of the projected second wave of COVID-19. NGF says it has remained committed to the welfare and security of people and has shown adequate concern over the alleged brutality of the disbanded SARS, as well as instituted measures to address demands raised by genuine protesters. The forum advised citizens not to undermine the good efforts of government in ensuring that the economy is put in good shape for the benefit of humanity and the country. The Southeast Governors Forum is meeting with the youth from the zone on the need to pull out on the NSAS protest. The chairman of the forum and governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, made this known after their virtual meeting with the selected youth leaders from the zone in Abakaliki. Kingsley Okoro reports.
The meeting is coming after hoodlums hijacked the NSAS peaceful protests across the country. Governor Umahi said the leaders of the zone acknowledged with great pain the ugly event that led to the destruction of lives and property across the country and called for accelerated investigation of the unwarranted shooting and perpetrators are brought to book.
The leaders of the Southeast geopolitical zone acknowledge with great pain. We are equally very pained by the destruction of critical infrastructure, public and private institutions and businesses. Deeply concerned and pained by the erosion of the mutual trust between the ethnic nationalities across the country, which has widened and greatly threatened our national unity and cohesion.
When commending leaders of other zones in their efforts to strengthen the unity of the country, Governor Umahi appealed to protesters to down tools as government is working hard to fulfill their demands. In Abakaliki, Kingsley Okoro, NTA News.
This is news on NTA International. More reports when we return from this break.
Demands of #EndSARS movement. Immediate release of all arrested protesters. Justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families. Setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. In line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and property of citizens. Federal government's response. On 11th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police dissolved the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory. On October 12th, President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation, stating, "The disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reforms." On 13th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police ordered all defunct SARS personnel to report at Force Headquarters, Abuja, for debriefing as well as psychological and medical examination. On 13th October 2020, the Presidential Panel on the Reform of SARS accepted the 5-point demand of the #EndSARS protesters. On 15th October 2020, the National Economic Council, NEC, directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality, related extrajudicial killings with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units. State governors should immediately establish state-based special security and human rights committees to be chaired by governors in their state and to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. This will ensure the protection of citizens' human rights. Members will also include representatives of youth and civil society, as well as head of police tactical units in each of the states.
What does it take to get ahead in today's world? To get your dream job, the perfect girl, even a table at your favorite dance club. It takes moving fast. It takes moving at the speed of 4G. With Intel 4G LTE, you've got it all covered. That's because you have access to super fast unlimited data that enables you move as fast as the speed of light. Now, no download is too heavy, no conversation too long. Nothing is impossible. Get Intel 4G LTE Advanced today and do so much more. Intel. Live more.
Issa too like football on top Go TV. Sote him forget say him be best man for him party wedding. Amaka disappoint her bobo all because of football. Kola and him family supposed come out, but then gas change plans because for this new football season, Go TV get correct football action will make sense. Get Go TV decoder will come with 1 month Go TV Max subscription for only 9,500 naira. Go TV.
Thanks for staying with us. The Ministry of Power is to execute 14 projects in 2021 fiscal year, which are priority projects of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the federal government. This was part of the submissions at the Senate's 2021 budget defense by the Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, and agencies under the ministry. Ignatius Onko reports.
It was another budget scrutiny session at the National Assembly. Senate Committee on Power needed justification for the financial proposals in the 2021 budget of the poor sector. The minister, before giving an overview of the 2021 budget, listed some of the major achievements of the sector in the 2020 fiscal year to include increased power generating capacity from 8,000 megawatts in 2015 to 13,000 in 2020,
2021 proposal budget is about 174 billion. Procurement department is ready to commence early procurement process in the first quarter of 2021.
I believe that even though Mambila is not well captured in the budget, I want to believe that because the president did mention it in his budget speech before the National Assembly, I'm sure he's trying to activate some of these interventions.
At another budget defense session, the Minister of Science and Technology gave a breakdown of the ministry's 2021 budget to the Senate Committee on Science and Technology.
Personnel costs, 899.3 million. Overhead costs, 212.1 million. Capital Development Fund, 6,963,545,117 naira.
In case of 2021 proposal, be informed that the committee will painstakingly scrutinize the genuineness of each proposed expenditure before arriving at its recommendation.
Management of Border Communities Development Agency and the National Boundary Commission defended their 2021 budget before the Senate Committee on State and Local Government. The 2021 budget of the Border Communities Development Agency is 8.7 billion naira. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The National Broadcasting Commission has sanctioned 3 broadcasting outfits in Nigeria for broadcasting social media footages that can trigger violence in the country. This was at a media briefing by the Commission in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
In these contemporary times, the impact of modern technology has no doubt significantly enabled citizens' contribution to journalism through the social media. During the recent NSAS campaign, the coverage of events shows that some broadcast outfits used footages from the social media.
Broadcaster shall verify.
Speaking on the coverage of crisis and responsibility, Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Professor Armstrong Idachaba said, Arise TV, Channels Television, and Africa Independent Television AIT breached the broadcasting code following the transmission of fake news purportedly copied from the social media, adding that they have been sanctioned.
The epitome of a religion in Nigeria, you say, is on fire, when there was nothing like that. Now there's a retraction. The damage in terms of cost and life, would it have been quantifiable? Like I said, it's easily escalatable to A, and A will be a shutdown. But we'll still pin you down on B, and in B is a heavy fine. And the heavy fine is between 500,000 to 5 million. But none of them is going to pay less than 2-3 million.
Professor Idachaba also presented the position of the Commission on attacks of some media organizations.
The burning of TVC Lagos, the temporary brief closure of Channels Television due to security threat, the shutdown of Lagos Television and others are all worrisome indicators of mob threat to the freedom of the press.
He called for total calm, saying that newsmen are not enemies of the state. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
On the health scene, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has appealed to Nigerians to remain law-abiding and collaborate with law enforcement agencies to restore normalcy across the country. At a Monday's briefing, the task force chairman, Boss Mustafa, said it is unfortunate that the NSAS protests have metamorphosed into an unprecedented safety and security situation. The task force said federal government palliatives consisted of 70 metric tons of grains released from the strategic grains reserves, as well as rice secured from the Nigerian Customs Service, were released to state governments for onward distribution to the citizens.
Wishes to appeal to all Nigerians to remain law-abiding and collaborate with law enforcement agencies to restore normalcy to our dear country. Humanity has been traumatized by COVID-19 in the year 2020. Our nation is not experiencing a second wave, but has been impacted negatively by the looting and arson.
We are not relenting in our efforts to ensure that the case fatality rate
continues to decline as we focus on improvement in case management capacity and ensure availability of equipment and medical consumables for our health workers.
It's important that our assets are protected. It's important that what the country has bought for the purpose of the COVID pandemic and what our donors have provided are used for the purposes that they are meant to.
Meanwhile, Australia coronavirus epicenter records no new cases or deaths for the first time in 4 months. As the U.S. shifts attention to COVID-19 vaccines and treatments, Uche Ugochukwu has more on COVID-19 Global Update.
We begin from Australia, a country where its coronavirus epicenter will move out of lockdown this week after the Victoria State Health Department reported no cases and no deaths due to the virus for the first time in more than 4 months. Similarly, India reported its lowest 24-hour rise in COVID-19 cases in 3 months, according to the figures released by the country's health ministry on Monday. 45,148 new cases were reported in 24 hours. Meanwhile, cases in Europe continue to skyrocket to record-breaking levels. The U.S. President's Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, said the U.S. is not going to control the pandemic, but will instead focus on vaccines and treatments. The U.S. average of new daily infections is now at its highest point. Elsewhere, China has rolled out mass coronavirus testing for nearly 5 million people and imposed lockdown measures in the western region of Xinjiang after a single asymptomatic coronavirus case was reported. Italy, however, has imposed new measures to combat a surge in coronavirus cases. In Africa, 1,732,999 people have so far tested positive for COVID-19, and 41,495 of them have died. Nigeria accounted for 1,130 of the total deaths from the 61,992 confirmed infections in the country, having identified 62 new cases Sunday. The global tally from the Coronavirus Resource Center in Johns Hopkins University as at 6 p.m. local time stands at 43,484,043 with 1,160,928 fatalities. That is it from here. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
The Global Update on COVID-19 concludes the news. Remember to connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists.